The next question is, discuss the main contributions of Gupta period and Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. So by just modifying the question itself, create an introduction saying that okay, both Gupta and Chola dynasties are celebrated epochs in Indian history. If you want to mention the time period of each of the dynasties, you can mention that. Then each contributing immensely to India's cultural and heritage tapestry. You can mention like that. Okay. Now start writing about Gupta, how they contributed to Indian heritage and culture. Okay. How to generate points, how to move from point to point. Just like focus on the way that I am explaining. Okay. First, we will be starting from the feature or the much famous tagline of Gupta, that is golden age of Indian art and architecture. Okay, so you talk about some architecture like Ajanta caves, the Dashavatara temple of the Yoga, etc. Okay, now these particular architectures were filled with many sculptures. Okay, then these architecture and sculptures are actually tangible, which we can touch and feel. So that type of an art. Now intangible arts like literature, language, like development kind of thing. You mentioned about that. Now apart from these artistic developments, you now talk about intellectual developments in science, mathematics, etc. So you can talk about Aryabhata's works. Then apart from this art and literature, there was the synthesis of new religions and philosophies. So you will be talking about Buddhism's new version, Mahayana Buddhism kind of thing. So this is about Gupta. So while Gupta was setting these precedents in the North India, after some centuries, the Chola continued these kind of innovations and developments in South India. Now begin Chola as well with the architecture, because while we talk about Chola, we cannot ignore Brihadeshwara temple kind of thing. So architecture you talk about. So these architectures or temples were the hub of sculptural development. So you will be talking about Chola bronze sculpture and all. So as we did in the case of Gupta, after this tangible thing, like tangible art forms or sculptures, you can talk about intangible art forms like literature and language. So you will be talking about some works there. Then apart from these kind of things which made people very happy, the people were also governed well by these particular Chola people through administrative innovations. These are also contribution to Indian culture. Okay, so they will be the beginners of local self-government in villages, and they had much higher or superior naval power as well. With naval power, even though they fought battle, they maintained the cultural exchange with the other countries. So you will be talking about that. Then you will be concluding suitably. So shall we do the survey of the answer now? Okay. After writing the introduction, we started with Gupta age. So as we told, we will be beginning with the tagline called Gupta age is called the golden age of Indian art and architecture. So in art and architecture, we will be talking about the Ajanta caves, then the Dashavatara temple, etc. Then these temples or architectures were filled with sculptures like Sarnath Buddha sculpture. We can talk about the Mehroli iron pillar which was built during the Chandragupta II. Then apart from this tangible thing, intangible art forms like literature, Sanskrit language, etc. Okay, Sanskrit language developed during this period. In literature, you can talk about the Abhijnana Shakuntalam of Kalidasa and the epics like Panchatantra of Vishnu Sharma, etc. Apart from these like artistic developments, there are intellectual developments as well in the field of science and mathematics. You talk about Aryabhata's Aryabhatiya, which laid the foundation of algebra and geometry. Now, apart from these merit-based art forms and literature forms and science developments, there was also philosophical developments as well. So you will be talking about the religion synthesis, synthesis or development of new religion and development of new philosophies. That is growth of Mahayana Buddhism. We know that after the Kanishka's period, there was the beginning of Mahayana Buddhism, which flourished during the Gupta period. And there was the Vedanta school of Hindu philosophy got developed during this period. So with these developments, Gupta period set a precedent in the North India, which was followed by the Chola in South India after some centuries, that is from 9th century to 13th century. So without starting to talk about Brihadeshwara temple, we cannot talk about Chola period. So temple architecture, we will begin with Dravidian temple architecture. They gave immense of contributions to this. So under Dravidian temple architecture, the signature specimens are Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjavur, Airavadeshwara temple at Dharasuram, etc. These temple architectures were the abode of sculptures, especially bronze sculptures. The iconic Nadaraja or dancing Shiva sculpture originated during this area. So apart from these tangible art forms, the intangible art forms or literary developments like the composition of Kamba Ramayanam. Okay, actually Tamil language developed during this period. Then Tamil literature, Kamba Ramayanam written by Kambar and Periya Puranam written by Sekila. Okay, remember that. Now, apart from the literary and artistic merits which made the people happy, they governed the people well. That was also contribution to Indian culture through the introduction of local self-government in the villages. We can talk about the Uttiramerur inscription of Parantaka Chola, which mentions about the local self-government in India during the Chola period, and they had very superior naval power as well. With that, this particular naval force strength, they used it for overseas expeditions to like attack the countries in the South and Southeast Asia. Then, though they had this naval power, they always maintained the cultural exchange with the neighboring countries. Its influence can be seen in the Southeast Asian temple architecture in Laos, Cambodia, Java, etc. We see there many inscriptions and temple architecture have copied many of the elements from the Chola temple and like Chola inscriptions, etc. So we will be concluding that okay, the Gupta and Chola period, though they were separated by time and geography, one in North India and other in South India, one in 4th to 6th century, the other in 9th to 12th century. Even then, they collectively laid the foundation for Indian heritage and culture in North India and South India respectively, with their unparalleled contributions spanning the field of art, architecture, literature and administration. With that, you will be winding up. So I hope you got how to move or generate points after points through establishing connections between each. Thank you.